This thing is beautiful as is. I'll take it as is right now. This is a Buick Special?
Yep, 54. And great car. This is a neat project. We're doing this for a gentleman named Hal Wing. He's the guy who invented the Little Giant stepladder. The one that folds into a scaffolding.
Oh, nice.
Seen him on an infomercial, probably.
Yeah, sure have.
I've seen the infomercial.
He's obviously done
for
well.
years. Yep. Hal's done well selling ladders. And
do you have any of those around?
Yes, we have one at home.
Some ladders,
no,
right?
I have one. Hal come recommended to me from some friends in Utah, and which was great. You know, wasn't really in the hot rod scene. Had started collecting cars, and come recommended, and got the phone call and said, "Hey, I got a 06 G55 Mercedes that my son crashed, and we really like the drivetrain in it. We'd like to do a hot rod." And you're the guy they said they could do it. So I thought, you know, that's good. And I go, "What kind of car you want to do?" He goes, "You know, I'm pretty open," and, you know, kind of figured out what he had. I said, "Man, I like these 54 Buicks. What do you think about that?" "No, that'd be great." And so it's G55 Mercedes powered. It's got an engine, transmission. We're going to do a lot of little Mercedes cues, the little instrument clusters Mercedes. We're going to do some AMG style wheels, and the car is so cool by itself.
I was going to say, now everything, all the styling cues right now are stock.
Yeah, only thing we've done is we've sucked the bumper back 4 inches and narrowed it about 4 inches, but it's still shaped like a Buick. And there's not a lot you need to do to it.
This is when American cars had
classic styling. Yeah. Classic,
you know, the
style.
scallop in the quarter,
yep,
and the raise on the fin there. It's just and the where you can see where the bumper fits in on the rear quarter and the back.
Yep. Anything you change
awesome.
on these, you know, a lot of times you're going backwards.
Right.
You know, it's like, man, they're so cool. Just get it sitting right, and then that's ride height. You know, it started its life on the rack too at 4 inches.
Yeah.
And we designed a Art Morrison chassis, and Art made the chassis for us. It's, you know, C5 spindles in the front, Corvette, 4 9-inch, so it ought to drive and ride real nice. And we're lucky we have the Mercedes here. We stripped, so we have all the ECM and the wiring, which is 100 miles, you know, of wiring out of that Mercedes, so we can really make the engine work right. So
now some guys in the hot rodding community, Troy, would consider that kind of sacrilege, putting the Mercedes running gear inside a classic American vehicle like that. What's your stance on that?
Just be different, you know. I mean, we don't. A lot of times, we kind of look at this different because it's a Mercedes, you know. We'll say German, right? Where, like, you know, I would never put a Ford in a Buick, or, you know, or we always try to keep if it's a Ford, put a Ford. If it's a Chevy, put a Chevy, and we may do a Pontiac and a 70 Pontiac.
Yeah.
But this was such an odd thing with the, you know, AMG engine and Mercedes, and, you know, it just seems like it wasn't part of the big three, you know, intermixing. So it you know, it was such a neat deal, and as long as you tie it in the rest of the way, you know, with wheels and the dash and some of the AMG styling, it'll really tie it in nice without losing the Buick. You know,
right.
With it closed, it'll just look like a really cool styled Buick.
And essentially, I mean, it's modern hot rodding. You know, back in the 50s when guys they'd build their hot rods with whatever was available.
This is,
you know,
just a new deal here.
Exactly.
You know? And Hal liked the way the liked the way the AMG is, the G-Wagon, they call it, you know, the way it drove and the power of it and stuff. And he's like, man, it's such a cool drivetrain. So, you know, he bought it back from the insurance company, totaled, and we stripped it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's 500 horsepower right out of the box.
Yeah.
So it's a neat car. I mean, it's going to be a great car. It's going to be like a cranberry and either silver or cranberry and white color, and kind of classic 50s styling, you know, where the roof's one color and the sides one color and then back to the other color again. And
now it's nice to have a relationship with a guy like Art Morrison. Obviously, he can.
I tell you, that's where we've benefited the most, is being at it almost 20 years now. And we were at SEMA this year with Art and Bobby Alloway and all the guys who are around that are using Art stuff now. And I said, Art, you know what? I got a receipt from 1986. I was the youngest guy there of the builders, and I've been Art's customer the longest. Yeah. Nice. I said, all these guys are just figuring out this Street Machine stuff. I bought that first part from you in '86, so it was kind of fun. And Art's done a great job, you know, and he's really taken off because they build a good product for a good price, and he's on time with it. And you know, like, it's not a gamble when we put it on our car. You know it's going to drive good and handle good. Yeah. It's not, well, we've built it from scratch, I hope it works. And some cars we do trick, like Roger and Nancy's 56, it's trick, you know, and it works. But this is just a very good chassis, and you know it's going to work. And you know, you know, you order it 4 weeks later, you put it under, instead of building it, you're 6 months ahead already.
Yeah.
So
now this one's kind of been put on the back burner because you got one more project that we're going to go see at the paint shop, the Chrysler.
Yep, Nancy and Roger's 56 Chrysler is our high priority right now. You know, we still work on all of them, but we got most of the guys just really concentrating on that, and we're trying to get it done here in the next couple months.
You're actually trying to get that car ready for the show in Milwaukee.
Little Milwaukee, February, where Roger lives, and Roger's a second-time customer. We did a little 32 Roadster for him. That was a top 75 of all time. Nice, great car. And Roger called and, hey, I want to do a big car. And I'm like, man, I've always wanted to do a 56 Chrysler. And I tell you what, it is top shelf. It's sniper chicane all in one. It's that cool. You know, it's just a big, cool car, hammered. We built one of our hand-built chromoly chassis on it, but it's all Viper control armed, independent Viper in the back. We stripped in the 07 Viper to get the parts. And it's got a Nextel Cup 358 NASCAR Dodge engine, twin turbocharged. But the turbos are hidden inside the fenders so you don't see them. You know, I didn't want that mess under the hood.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a great styled car that's got a lot of trick stuff that is so unassuming, it's unbelievable. And it's just the right styling. It's going to be awesome.
That's just a little tease for you, Hubheads, because we're not quite there yet. But you've seen the Fab Shop. Next, we're going to step in the room with the CNC. You're watching Top Shops, coming to you live, Rad Rides by Troy, on the Hub, the coolest car community on the net.